Hey y'all, Katie here. It's another midweek devotional from the faith community of University United Methodist Church here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on LSU's campus. And this is obviously where I am today. If any of you have been living in the city for a while, you probably know this view. You know the lake, and you can maybe even place exactly where I am. I am basically across the street from the church, catty corner to where the Lutheran campus ministry is. And I'm sitting right by the crew dock where, all of the rowing team goes out and practices for their meets and things. And this space has been a favorite space of mine ever since I was a kid growing up here. In high school, I can remember going with my friends and kind of sneaking out at night and coming to sit at this very swing. There's a swing right around here looking at this view, and we would just look at the stars and talk and just have a great time. I'm sure to some degree we were probably trespassing, but we haven't gotten in trouble in 25, 30 years, so I think we're going to be okay. But this has become a thin space for me through the decades of my life. And so when we were appointed almost 2 years ago now to university, there was just something really heartening about being right in proximity to a place that had been such a meaningful spot of conversations and revelations growing up. Maybe you have those spaces that you can think of in your life wherever they are too, and maybe your space is actually just a human that you connect with that helps emerge some beautiful wisdom and just deeply rich experiences in your life as well. But I'm here because this is a place where I've had lots of reflection, and I think there's something really meaningful about the way a space is made and how it forms you. So one of the things I've done as a pastor is often I'll come out here as soon as I drop off my kids and get to the church office early in the morning. I'll drop off all my bags and my computer and then shoot straight out to here while the sun is still rising and really the world is still coming to life. You can see the egrets and the pelicans floating around here and standing en masse. And especially at certain times of year, you can see them take flight all together. And it's just a really, really lovely thing to behold God's creation and how it reminds you how beautiful life is and how small we are. But I think it's important that this space, both watching the horizon of the sun rising or sun setting, and then being at the edge between the land on which we stand on firm ground and then the shore where you enter into shallow and perhaps deeper water. There's something to me about living on the edge that has always been compelling and exciting and scary. We are on the edge of a season to some degree today. It's December 1st. I know that Advent started last Sunday, November 28th. And it's not always customary that it falls in November. Usually Advent begins at the beginning of December. And so we are kind of at this edge, this hinge moment where we're shifting into something new, a new awareness, a new way of seeing God and God's action in our lives, a new way of maybe taking a different pace, I hope, in life so that we might have the room and the margin and give God the opportunity to break into our lives, break into our minds, break into our hearts, to speak and to and help us feel and know something more than we have known and what we have been. Today, when I woke up, I was chastised by my kids because we have this Advent calendar that basically starts from December 1 through December 25th. I guess it's not exactly liturgically correct, but there's still a sense where it facilitates the waiting for kids. And it's a wooden calendar, and it has little drawers for every single day of December that you can open them up, and then a little elf or somebody, obviously a parent, but someone goes in and puts little sweet treats for the kids every day to open up and then grab, so that they remember the sweetness of this time of preparation, this time of waiting, this time of patience. And whether that be in a spiritual sense, of the waiting of the incarnation and what we learn and what we remember about a story that is ours. Or maybe it is just the waiting for being able to unwrap presents and not cave into the temptation of pulling that tape off of the wrapped gift and peeking in to see what's inside. There's a sense where waiting and preparation and being on that edge, having the courage to lean in to what we don't know, new pathways, new ways of being, it helps us become something different, to be transformed. So I'm mindful, some of the people that I am in relationship with here on campus and just in the city proper, talking about faith things, a lot of times I sense this posture that folks really love spiritual things, but they don't want to go all in on the religious piece, the organized, institutional kind of way of expressing religion. And I always try to approach, when I sense that about someone, approach it not from a place of correction, but from a place of curiosity, and ask why. What is it about what you have experienced that makes you perhaps want to stay on that edge without dipping a toe in? And a lot of it centers around, for most of the people that try to be as authentic and honest with me as they possibly can be, they just say that I can't quite trust. Perhaps there's some cynicism that this gospel story isn't just another trick or another story that doesn't have weight or promises that won't be kept. There's a sense of our humanness that continues to bring this greatest story that has ever been told into the regular flatness of everything else that we experience in life that has either been true to us or has let us down. And I get that. I really do. I've had those seasons of my life as well where I didn't want anything that wasn't sure, whether it be a relationship or whether it be an opportunity, a sure thing. I wouldn't let it creep into the edges of my life. I kind of kept these guardrails and boundaries so I felt like I could stay safe for in some way. Maybe you have a different word for that, but for me it was safety, and continues to be in some areas of my own life as I continue to reflect on those places where I've been more intentional about stepping beyond those borderlines to experience something new, and the humility that comes from not having it all together or not knowing exactly what's coming. So one of the things I've been reading, it's been kind of a companion for a while, is this devotional book called A Guide to Prayer for All Who Seek God. And in Advent, if you are looking for some kind of practice to make this 4-ish week experience different, you can use this, or you could go on our website, universitymethodist.org, and there is an actual devotional book that we wrote for the sake of any of you that would want to experience that in a digital way with us. But in this book, I found, it speaks to all the different times of year, from Advent to Easter, all the way through ordinary time. And there was this word from Reuben Job that really hit to this issue around the courage that it takes in the midst of fear when we're standing on the edge of whatever faces us. And he said this: "So often I stand on the edge of the light, afraid to believe, afraid to act, afraid that this story is too good to be true. But then in my better moments, when I listen closely to the story, move closer to the light, my fears seem to evaporate like an early morning mist, and I can believe again. I can believe that God, who made all that is, became clothed in our human flesh so that we might become clothed in God. I can believe that God claims me as a beloved child. I can believe that all my days are in God's strong and tender hands. I can believe that life is good, that life is beautiful, and that life is eternal. I can believe that not only my days, but all days are in God's good and able hands. I can believe and rejoice and wait trustingly and expectantly for the unfolding of God's promise, given so many ways, and most clearly in the Advent story. Thanks be to God, he says. I think that's a beautiful word to help us break through whatever boundaries we are placing in our lives, to only stay so close or to make sure that we are just far enough away from a story that might change us, a relationship that might change us, an opportunity and experience that might change us and require something of us that is different. Whatever God is revealing to you today and in these days to come, I pray that you and I would have soft hearts to receive and to not distance ourselves from the way that God's love with skin on will show up to us in surprising and profound times and places. So I pray as we begin this December, as the air continues to cool just a little bit for all of us Louisianans, that's always good news. I pray that this season for you will be life and will be refreshment and will be in the lingering, a place where the ashes and mess of your world turn into deeper peace and abiding joy. May it be so. Amen.